Hey guys, Joe from American Trucks, and today I'm going to be reviewing and installing the DV8 off-road front bumper fitting all 16, 17, and 18 Silverado 1500. This bumper is going to be perfect for the Silverado owner that's looking to improve the front end of their rig with a front bumper that is going to add ground clearance, approach angles, durability, and functionality with the ability to add some cube lights, a light bar, and a winch. This bumper is manufactured out of 3/16 inch cold rolled steel, which goes up to a 1/4 inch from the areas that take a lot of abuse, like the mounting points and gussets. It is then sealed in DV8's 2-stage powder coating that not only adds to the looks, complements the blackout on our 16 Silverado perfectly, but is going to seal the bumper and protect it from corrosion as well. Now, speaking about the looks, the way this is designed really adds to the front end as well. It really has the trophy truck engineering to it. With the vent holes, we got the cube lights on the side, winch in the middle, and light bar. All adds to the look and the style to make this feel like it belongs on the Baja. So as far as functionality goes, we have room for 2 3-inch LED cube lights on either side. You can mount up to a 20-inch light bar in the middle. And right above that, we have a cutout and a winch plate for up to a 12,500 pound winch. Now that pairs great with the D-rings, so you have your choice of all the recovery points up front. You can use either those D-rings or the winch. Now I would just like to make a note. This bumper will use the tow hook mounts from the factory and effectively replace those, so we have some D-rings instead, basically providing the same function as the factory tow hooks. Pricing for this bumper is going to be around $750. Now that is a steal at this price point. It's strong with good looks and adds some serious utility to the front end of your truck. Other bumpers with all of these features on it can go for double, even triple the price. Also included in that is DV8's 3-year manufacturer's warranty. So moving on to the install, this is going to be a 2 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter, as there's no drilling or modifications required to get this mounted up to your truck. Should only take you about 2 hours with some basic hand tools. Let me show you how it's done. For this install, you will need an impact, ratchet, 19mm wrench, 18mm wrench, 6-inch extension, 19mm socket, 18mm socket, short and deep 15mm sockets, 10mm socket, and a trim panel removal tool. So the first step for our install is we have to get our stock bumper out of the way. Now in order to do that, we are going to have to get the grill out of the way first to allow us to access the bolts along the top of the bumper, right in between the two. So we're going to pop our hood. I got a trim panel removal tool here. We're going to remove the radiator shroud, undo a couple bolts, get our grill out of the way. Then we'll be able to unbolt the bumper. So we're going to start by removing all these push pin clips. There's about 12 of them across this big radiator shroud plastic piece here. And once you have all those removed, you can remove that plastic piece straight up and comes right off. So next we're going to grab the ratchet or impact and a 10mm socket. There's 4 10mm bolts across the top of our grill that we're going to remove, and then this pulls right out. So once you have those 4 10mm bolts removed from the top of the grill, pull straight out towards you. There's a couple body clips holding it on, but it should pop right off. So with the grill removed, we actually have access to the bolts we need to remove this bumper. Now there's 4 of them, again, one right here, one a little recessed, and same thing on the other side. So we have our impact, a small extension, and an 18mm socket to remove those. So with the 4 bolts removed from the top, we can now move to the bottom. There's 2 15mm bolts holding our bumper onto this arm right here. And we're going to do the same thing for the other side. So with all the bolts out of it, now our bumper is free, just resting on the tow hooks. So go ahead and lift that up and out, and it should pull right away from the truck. So next up, we're going to use a 15mm socket to remove these 3 bolts, get this faceplate out, and that will allow us to remove our tow hook. So now onto the tow hook, and we're going to use an 18mm socket and wrench to remove the bolts holding that to the frame. And the first one is going to go all the way through. So we're going to do the same thing for the other side. Again, 15mm socket for the bolts on the faceplate, and then an 18 for the tow hook bolts. So with our truck completely disassembled, we can now move on to pre-assembly of our bumper. Now this thing comes in a lot of pieces. We have a side mounting bracket in the middle, we have the middle, another mounting bracket, and then the other side of the bumper. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to assemble this hand tight on the table just to get everything together. Then we're going to put this on the truck and align everything and tighten down all the bolts as we go. So starting here on the driver's side, this is our middle piece, this is our mounting bracket, and this is the driver's side of the bumper. So we have our mounting bracket here, and this is directional. And as you can see, this gusset here is going to face outward toward the driver's side of the vehicle. And as you can see, there's a notch cut out of the end cap for our bumper here to fit that in. So what I have here, a little bit of hardware, flat washer, another flat washer, a lock washer, and then a nut and a bolt. We're going to get these all started by hand into these 3 holes here and get this sandwiched in between our middle section and the end cap. So we have all of our hardware started on this side. We're just going to do the same thing for the other side. So with our factory bumper off the truck and our new DV8 bumper built up on the table, I just wanted to take a second to compare the two, point out some of the key differences and improvements we're going to be making with our new DV8 bumper. And right off the bat, I just wanted to point out the alignment. The way this sits right now, again, is just hand tight. So this gap here is going to be fixed. Once we get this on the truck, set it in place, and give everything the final tighten down. So some of the key differences here, and right off the bat, it's a huge improvement in the looks department. We're ditching that factory steel chrome bumper in exchange for some black powder coating. Again, huge improvement. You have the looks to back up the functionality of this bumper. Also, speaking of functionality, we got some added lighting as well. 3-inch cube lights on either side, and a 20-inch light bar can go right in the middle. Again, all optional extras, but the mounting plates are there and ready to go for you to mount some lights up. Speaking of functionality, again, we got some more with the recovery points. Now, like I said earlier, we are going to be losing the functionality of the tow hooks, but thankfully, we got some D-ring mounts here and some D-rings in the kit. We're going to be replacing those tow hooks with the D-rings, so really no loss there. Now, also, we have a winch plate right in the middle and a spot for a fair lead. So if you do ever need to get out of a sticky situation, that winch right up front is going to be a huge help. And again, a huge improvement over the factory front bumper. So now we're going to get our new DV8 bumper installed on the truck. We're going to need the 15mm hardware we just uninstalled from the plate over the D-rings. So the next step is going to consist of lifting this thing, and it is extremely heavy. Highly recommend you grab a buddy for this step. We got some jack stands to help us support it as well. So we're gonna lift it up, rest it on the jack stands, and then get the 15mm bolts started back into the frame. So now we have a couple of the bolts started and the bumper is secure to the truck. Not gonna go anywhere. We used the 15mm hardware from the factory to secure that into our frame rail. I'm just gonna snug those up with a 15mm socket on a ratchet. And again, I'm gonna leave that loose for now. That's gonna give us some wiggle room left to right. And same thing for the other 2 bolts on this frame rail. Then we're gonna do the same thing for the other side. So the hard part about this is getting all 3 sections aligned properly, because that's the only way we can tighten this down. So we got a floor jack and a couple blocks of wood underneath to help support it. So we're going to jack up that middle section, get it aligned, and then tighten our bumper down. So once we have some of the pieces aligned, we are going to tighten that down with a 19mm wrench and 19mm socket. So now the 3 pieces of our bumper are lined up and down. Once you have it seated left to right, you can then tighten down the 15mm bolts that connect it to the frame rail. And same thing for the other side. So the install is starting to shape up at this point, and our bumper is starting to look awesome. All that's left for us to do is put the truck back together, and we're good to go. So we got the grill popped in, and now we're going to reinstall the 10mm bolts on the top of it. And lastly, we have our radiator cover and all the push pins to secure it. And the final touch is going to be to install our D-rings. So with everything mounted up, you can now close the hood, and that is going to be it for my review and install of the DV8 off-road front bumper. Keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.